So do we want a humorless society that is simply rife with condemnation and hate, basically? At its heart, wokeness is divisive, exclusionary, and hateful. I don't care. I'll say what I want to say, and if the consequence of that is losing money, so be it.
Elon Musk is back in the headlines, but this time it's not just about rockets and electric cars. He's taking on woke culture, and he's not holding back. Is he a free speech warrior or a reckless provocateur? Today on Elite Exposed, we're diving into Musk's bold claims and the chaos they've stirred. Buckle up, because this ride is going to get wild.
Elon, you tweeted this thing about George Soros. You also you said he wants to erode the very fabric of civilization, and Soros hates humanity. Like, when you do something like that, do you
I think that's true. That's my opinion.
Okay, but why share it? Why share it? Especially because, I mean...
Let's start with Musk's explosive comments about George Soros. He said Soros wants to erode the very fabric of civilization. That's a huge accusation.
I don't care. I'll say what I want to say, and if the consequence of that is losing money, so be it.
Musk is basically saying he doesn't care if his words hurt his business. But is that really smart, or just plain reckless? When advertisers started pulling out of Twitter, Musk had this to say.
Why share it when people who buy Teslas may not agree with you? Advertisers on Twitter may not agree with you.
I mean, this is freedom of speech. I'm allowed to say what I want.
You absolutely are, but I'm trying to understand why you do, because you have to know it's got to hurt the company. Are there Tesla owners who say, I don't agree with his political position? And I know it because he shares so much of it. Or are there advertisers on Twitter that Linda Yaccarino will come and say, you got to stop, man. I don't care.
There was all of the criticism. There was advertisers leaving. We talked to Bob Iger today.
I hope they stop.
You hope?
Don't advertise.
I don't think you have the facilities for that, big man.
You don't want them to advertise?
No.
What do you mean?
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go yourself.
But
go yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is.
how do you think then about the economics of X? Part of the underlying model, at least today, and maybe it needs to shift. Maybe the answer is it needs to shift away from advertising. What do you do?
F-Y.
I understand that, but there's a reality too.
Wow. He's ready to risk it all over his beliefs. But can a billionaire really afford to say that? Musk isn't just targeting politics. He's also got a bone to pick with video games. He wants to keep politics out of gaming.
It's really annoying when video game gets interrupted by some DEI woke bullshit, and I'm like, Jesus, I was playing a video game here. Can you just leave the video games alone? You know, you don't want to do things that damage art. So it breaks you out of the story.
But is that a reasonable request, or is he just being out of touch with modern culture? Musk claims that woke culture is exclusionary and hateful. He's framing wokeness as a villain, but is it really that black and white?
Yeah, so do we want a humorless society that is simply rife with condemnation and hate, basically? At its heart, wokeness is divisive, exclusionary, and hateful. It basically gives mean people a reason, it gives them a shield to be mean and cruel, armored in false virtue.
His words spark outrage and support in equal measure. Some people cheer him on while others want to cancel him. It's a classic case of you're either with us or against us. Every tweet he sends out fuels this fire. Supporters see him as a hero standing up against censorship. Critics say he's just spreading hate. So, what's the truth here?
We don't agree on this.
Yes, you want censorship and I don't.
No, I don't want censorship at all.
Yes, you do.
No, I want responsibility.
You want censorship so bad you can taste it.
No, that's not true. I think that there's right and wrong.
That's typically how the bullshit goes, you feel me?
When you have a platform that's as big as yours and as powerful as yours and as influential as yours, that there is a certain responsibility that goes along with what you have on your platform and what you put out to the world. I think that's important.
I think we have a responsibility to adhere to the law, and if people want the law changed, they should go to their elected representative and get the law changed, and then we will adhere to the law. But if you want us to go beyond the law, that is us deciding to be censors. And I'm against censorship. I'm in favor of freedom of speech. And freedom of speech only is relevant when people you don't like say things you don't like. Otherwise, it has no meaning.
And then there's his take on responsibility. Is he defending free speech, or is he just being hypocritical? Can we really have freedom of speech without some level of responsibility? Elon Musk's war on woke culture raises serious questions. Is he a brave voice for free speech, or just another billionaire with a microphone? At Elite Exposed, we want to know what you think. Drop your thoughts in the comments.
Do you believe that women and minority pilots are inherently less intelligent and less skilled than white male pilots?
No, I'm just saying that we should not lower the standards for them.
Okay, but there's no evidence that standards are being lowered when it comes to the airline industry.
You've repeatedly said that there's no evidence that standards are being lowered, and watch the replies showing all the evidence that it is.
Replies, though, on social media or on Twitter are not necessarily fact and evidence.
No,
that's people's
They will
opinion.
cite
Okay.
in the replies to this. You will see how often the information is cited, showing that indeed there are significant cases where standards are lowered. I believe that Boeing changed to include DEI as a fundamental executive incentive. In my view, it should be purely about passenger safety.
Okay, but do you understand how by saying just that standards are being lowered, that you're implying that they're being lowered because people are less skilled and less intelligent, and you're talking about people of color and or women?
Look, I'm saying we should not lower standards.
But you don't...
That's it.
Do you support Musk's bold stance, or do you think he's just making things worse? Hit that like button and subscribe for more raw takes and deep dives into the controversies that matter. Thanks for watching Elite Exposed, where we cut through the noise and reveal the truth.
I'm literally asking you about, you changed the labels, the COVID misinformation labels. There used to be a policy, and then it disappeared. Why do that?
Well, COVID is no longer an issue. Does the BBC hold itself at all responsible for misinformation regarding masking and side effects of vaccinations, and not reporting on that at all? And what about the fact that the BBC was put under pressure by the British government to change its editorial policy? Are you aware of that?
This is not an interview about the BBC.
Oh, you thought it wasn't?
I see now why you've done Twitter Spaces. I am not a representative of the BBC's editorial policy. I want to make that clear.
Get out of here, man.
Because all this controversy, I believe, as you know, has made X less appealing to advertisers. About half of them have left the platform. You call advertisers that left X.com. You said they were oppressors. You've even gone as far as saying it publicly that they can go F themselves or go F themselves.
If they're going to force censorship on the company before advertising, then obviously I find that unacceptable.
You find it unacceptable. Why is that not a form of free speech? They are free to advertise where they want. They're not beholden to, they're not obligated to advertise.
They're not obligated.
On X.com.
Right.
So how is that not free speech?
Whereas the other platforms will censor on behalf of advertisers, the X platform will not.
Okay. So, but you think you don't think it's okay for them not to advertise with or have their content or their advertisement next to something that is anti-Semitic or...
That is a different question. You can absolutely choose where, next to which content do you want your advertising to appear. Absolutely, of course. And we have, I think, very good ad placement controls in this regard.
Yeah. So you said if they kill the company, it's them. But doesn't the buck stop with you? I mean, you're...
Don, I have to say, choose your question carefully. There's 5 minutes left.
Okay, but so...
Is this the question you want to ask?
The same question is, you said that they are killing the company, but you're the head of the company. The buck doesn't stop with you?
I acquired X in order to preserve freedom of speech in America, the First Amendment, and I'm going to stick to that. And if that means making less money, so be it.